Welcome to Search for ID Max. This is P01 Push Start, the episode where me and my brother search for, find, and talk about video games. So I am a huge fan of Zelda, as you can see from all this stuff that I got. I wanted to focus on just the video games and not peripherals and other random stuff that maybe is associated with Zelda. I know there's a lot of different action figures and different things, but really like the core of Zelda, the source material, is the video games, right? So here's all the video games that I have. I also have a list over here. I went through all the games that were released by year, just to see like which ones I had and which ones I was actually missing. But really, I just want to go over what I got on the table, which is everything I got. And then I'll go over some of the games that I might be missing and why. So it starts off with the original Legend of Zelda from '86, also the year I was born. So boom, two awesome things coming out of that year. Here's the sequel to that, The Adventure of Link, Zelda 2. Yeah, and this game's just amazing, right? You're looking for stuff, you're hunting for things. To 100% this type of game within the Zelda series is a time-consuming type of thing, but completely doable. It's not like some of these kind of modern games where you're looking for collectibles and little things in the game, and it's like, what am I looking for? Some coins or this or that? But Zelda always felt like, I'm looking for some weapons, I'm looking for this. I can play along with that, and I can find those things. I always thought that was really, really fun, because you have the story, which is usually great. Some of the storylines in some of the games aren't the best, but for the most part, the story of Link and the story of Zelda and the story of Ganon, all together looking for this Triforce or some kind of source of power. Pretty interesting story. The way that they tell it across the games is pretty interesting. And the Zelda timeline, how all the games connect, what a crazy concept. Like, why would it even do that? So yeah, amazing series. Moving on to the Super Nintendo. So those were on the original Nintendo. This is on the Super Nintendo now. We got Link to the Past, which is right here. And I got the map and the instruction booklet. The sequel to Link to the Past was actually this one, which is called Ancient Stone Tablets. This is a kind of hack version of it to throw it onto a cartridge, because it wasn't originally on a cartridge. It was on some kind of internet weird thing that they had to broadcast, some kind of broadcast system. So now it's on a cartridge, and now I can play it on the Super Nintendo. So haha. So I really love Link to the Past. It's definitely like my favorite earlier version of the Zelda games. And I have a couple hacked versions, some homebrews over here. We got Parallel Worlds, and we got Wisdom of the Goddess of Wisdom. What is it? Goddess of Wisdom. And then I just got this hack. It's called Secrets of the Past. Yeah, looks like it builds upon the kind of the story. It mentions his Link's dad, which Link's parents really haven't been mentioned, except for in the Link to the Past graphic novel, which is a very fantastic story, really great graphic novel that ties into the Link to the Past story. Super fun. So I guess that's going to kind of tell a different story, maybe say a little bit more about his dad. Haven't played it yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. So I got that one. Moving on to the middle here. So I didn't have a 3DS before, but my brother Kevin hooked me up with a 3DS so I could start playing 3DS games. He also got me this big old Breath of the Wild thing, which is super awesome, along with the Switch. My brother just went all out, and it reminded me how much I really like playing Zelda games. So thanks, bro. So for the 3DS, I was able to play the Link Between Worlds, which was kind of like, it used the kind of the look and the map of A Link to the Past, but it was a different story with some different mechanics where you can like stick to the wall and stuff, which was pretty interesting. Link to the Past is still the best, but definitely an interesting iteration of using that game to make like a new one. Some other 3DS versions that I got here, because I kind of skipped the N64. I went towards the PlayStation during that time, didn't play N64 games. So in order for me to play Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, I was like, well, how am I going to play these things? I ended up playing them one through the GameCube, which I'll talk about in a minute. There was a collector's edition that had those games. But then I also played the 3DS versions, which was interesting to flip that little 3D setting to make it all 3D-y. Definitely an interesting kind of way to play those games. The 3D type environment wasn't always the best, so you could toggle it to change it to be more 3D or less 3D. I usually left it on like the lowest setting so I could see kind of that it was 3D, but I didn't have to always kind of adjust the 3DS to make sure that I could see that, because I always liked playing like handheld versions of a lot of these games, as well as the console versions. I like both, but lately it's definitely been playing on these kind of portable versions like the 3DS or the Switch. So Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and just recently I got this game, the Triforce Heroes. It's not the best game to play as a solo player. I think it was definitely made to be played with at least, it's supposed to be played with 3 people, and you can stack up on each other. Kind of interesting, but not super fun to play solo. Unfortunately, I didn't think they got the game mechanics to work the best for solo players, but maybe someday I'll finish it. Right now, it's just definitely not the most enjoyable. I got this lamp within one of those cheesy Zelda boxes of stuff. Came with a couple other random things, but I just wanted kind of a back piece for showing off this cool Zelda stuff today. And then I got a couple amiibos out right here. I didn't want to focus too much on these, so I just have the 2 out. I got Zelda it's the Twilight Princess Zelda, but it's actually from Smash Brothers, is what that amiibo is from. And then you got the Zelda from the Skyward Sword game. I don't know why they never made a Link one with his red bird. That would have been super cool. But I'm happy with having Zelda and her blue bird. It's pretty cool. And actually, I do have fun with that game. It's a cool game. So, didn't even mention this. What the heck? I'm just like speeding through these games. I think I'm just so excited. I love playing Zelda games. They're so much fun. So the boxed versions of the Super Nintendo Zelda games are going for crazy prices nowadays. We're looking at post-pandemic prices of collectibles and games and stuff. Everything's freaking crazy. But I did find a Japanese version, and I actually like the image, the artwork on this a lot better than the American version, which is, I mean, that seems to be a theme. You look at some of the Japanese stuff, it looks a lot better. I don't have I don't have a Super Famicom to actually play this on, but maybe later down the line I will. So for now I have the box. It's got the manual in it. Whoa. It's got the box. It's got the game. It's got the manual. I think it's got a couple other pieces of paper or whatever, but that is a complete in-box Japanese version of Link to the Past. Awesome. Okay, now moving on to the GameCube versions of the Zelda games. So the first one I have on here is actually Super Smash Brothers, because Zelda's a playable character in there. So it counts, I guess. Next you got Wind Waker. Fantastic game. It took me a while to get into it for sure. I didn't want to play it because the animation style. I was like, oh, that looks super kiddie. But it was actually a really great game. You get to sail around in a boat and go to different islands. I know they released like an HD version of it with an extra sail so you can sail around faster, but it's whatever. Sailing around was chill. It was kind of a good break in the game and in life to just kind of sail around to explore new places, which is the point of playing a Zelda game, right? The point of playing Zelda is to explore and look at stuff and want to go places. Was always the allure to me. And I think that's kind of the way that you're supposed to play those games. You talk to villagers, you talk to people, you talk to different characters. They give you hints about stuff. It piques your curiosity. Wait, what are they talking about? That mountain over there? I'm supposed to go over there? What am I supposed to be looking for? they said look for a special vine or something. And you jump on that vine and get to a special area, and you find something cool. Hopefully a new weapon, hopefully some kind of power up that you can use. But you never know what you're going to find, and that was always kind of part of the fun. So Wind Waker. I also have this other random game, Soul Calibur 2. I actually played that on the PS2 originally, and I really like that. It's a fighting game. You have these different characters. And then in the GameCube version, Link is a playable character. What the hell? So I had to get the GameCube version so I could play as Link, and he's actually a pretty cool playable character in there. Throw some bombs at people. It's kind of like Super Smash Brothers. It's a fighting game, right? But it's not with lots of different players and too much craziness. It's still a really good fighting game. What else is over there? Got Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. So that includes the 2 original Zelda games, plus Ocarina of Time, plus Majora's Mask. And then it has a sample or a demo of Wind Waker. So that was a really nice collection. That was actually the first way that I played Ocarina of Time. I never played Zelda 2 until last year or last year. Hadn't played Zelda 2. I'm talking about this one, Zelda 2. So I hadn't played that game, even though it was on there, and I ended up buying the cartridge for it, and I played it on an original Nintendo, and I almost beat it at the end, but I couldn't get past the second to last boss. So that's before you face Dark Link, or whatever his name is, Shadow Link, Dark Link, when you're fighting yourself, right? So I couldn't get past that second to last boss. So I ended up doing an emulated copy of it. Obviously a lot easier going through the game. I had already played it without emulation or save states or anything, but I played it again. I used save states. I cheated a little bit to get through that second to last boss, and then I finally beat that game. So I was like, cool, knocked it out. Took care of Zelda 2. And then I had played Majora's Mask on the GameCube one, and then they released a 3DS version of it, so I replayed it on that. They tweaked some things to make it like a little bit easier. You can like see the time more clearly and fast forward and do these types of things, because if you didn't have those features, you'd be pretty much just waiting around the whole game to do certain things. So instead of really like exploring different places all the time, you had to explore places within a certain time frame in the game. So you can see why that might be a little bit frustrating, because you go to an area and nothing's happening. But if you come at 6 p.m., something is happening. So you kind of had to know. The villagers do give you tips in certain things, but then you had to kind of slow down or speed up time or do whatever. But with the 3DS version, that was a little bit more enjoyable. I think that game, it grew on me. Seems like it grew on a lot of other people too. Some of the harder Zelda games that in our youth were like, man, this game is hard. Like, this isn't really fun because I'm having a tough time. Those are the games that now are a lot more fun in adulthood, because now we can push through it. We can figure it out, right? We have tips and we have all this wealth of internet knowledge and other people playing it, so we can get through it. So yeah, that's super fun. What else is over there? Four Swords Adventures. That one's kind of a weird one, because that's another one of those multiplayer Zelda games, but still enjoyable solo. Just because the way that you have the 4 players, but you can push a button. Just one button, and it takes all 4 of those characters and makes them into certain patterns, like a line or a vertical line, horizontal line, some star pattern, some other kind of thing. So still pretty fun game. Storyline wasn't super strong, but the gameplay was pretty interesting. And then my all-time favorite Zelda game, Twilight Princess. That's definitely my favorite. Hands down, 10 out of 10. I don't even know how many times I played it, but it's definitely been more than a few, and I would definitely just pick it up and play it again. So switching back and forth between being a wolf and, like I said, the storyline is amazing. It is a little linear, where the storyline says, hey, you got to go do this thing, you got to go do this thing. But that's okay with me. I'm okay with the linear storyline. As long as I get to explore in between all those kind of steps I got to do, right? Which, once you unlock certain items, then you can get to different areas and you can look for stuff. But that's an amazing freaking game. Twilight Princess herself, so cool as a character, right? So that's Twilight Princess. Now we're moving on to, what, the Wii? So I only have this one game over here. Oops. We got Skyward Sword for the Wii. This also has the music CD in there from the Zelda Symphony, which is awesome. I actually just got this one and Triforce Heroes because I was going through the list and I was like, hey, what other Zelda games am I missing and why? And I was like, you know what? I haven't played that one, so let me get that. And then this one's all shiny and cool, and it has the symphony music, which I'll probably throw into this video because it's amazing. But yeah, this was the 25th anniversary kind of celebration of stuff. And Skyward Sword, even though the gameplay wasn't 100% amazing, because you had to use the sword like this and be all whatever. And Link is historically left-handed. So that's pretty funny, because a lot of people are right-handed, right? So they had to like switch that. But yeah, the music on there is amazing. Gameplay not so much, but it laid down a lot of like the mythology behind like the Zelda series and how they might be connected and different things like that. So I did enjoy that. And the character development of Zelda and some of the side characters was some of the best work that they've done within like the whole series. So really good game to play. All right, so moving on, we got the Wii. There was the Wii U. Wii U had some HD releases of stuff. I don't have those. I don't have a Wii U. I don't have a Wii either, but I still wanted a copy of that Skyward Sword with the shiny gold, because then it matches these shiny golds, right? Gotta get the shiny gold. That's what Zelda's all about, shiny gold. Okay, so for the Nintendo Switch, definitely reignited my passion for playing some of these Zelda games. Once again, thank you, bro, for hooking me up so I could start playing those. I had never bought like a new system or a new video game before, but Breath of the Wild. So Breath of the Wild, man. I do have it in a cool plastic thing to keep this all safe. There is some stuff in here. There's the actual game, which is that's what the cover looks like. There's a Switch case that's in there. You got the soundtrack for the game, super cool. You got a map, which has some really nice material to it. Then you have a cool little Sheikah Eye coin that comes with it. So I'm not going to open this up because this isn't really about, like I said, those kind of extra accessories and different things that are associated with Zelda. This is more about the games. So Breath of the Wild, amazing Zelda game. And then we waited I guess not too long. Let's see, I have the years here. Just a couple years, 3 years. And then we got Age of Calamity, which is a Hyrule Warriors game. Totally different style game, and I absolutely loved it because it was like a prequel to Breath of the Wild, so it showed more of the storylines, but it is a multiplayer. I don't even know how to describe that kind of game because I've never played that type of game before. Hyrule Warriors. I know it's based off another type of series that's already been going for a while. And then they just made like a Zelda version of it. So there's Hyrule Warriors, the first one, which I don't have, which has a lot of Zelda characters all in the mix. And then this one had specifically characters from Breath of the Wild. So it built on the storyline, showed a little bit before you wake up in the cave, right? The Cave of Wonders, whatever it's called. So before that, what happened, right? If you want to know, you play Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. Amazing game. So they also released a couple of remastered versions or whatever, or remakes. So they did Link's Awakening as a complete remake, totally different style. I think I beat it over a weekend because it was I just remembered a lot of it. I have the little cartridge right here too for the Game Boy. There was another version of that released for the Game Boy. It was Link's Awakening DX, and it has a black case. Don't have that one, I just have the original one. And then they did the remake, which is almost the same. Extra dungeon, I think, that was based off of the DX version. And then some extra shells that you can find, some extra kind of side quests. So yeah, really fun, but just really short game for me. And then they released Skyward Sword HD. So now you didn't have to play with like your hand and go like this, like a sword. Which, cool idea, but like not the best execution, right? So playing that game again on just normal controls made it so much better. And then I also got Mario Kart Deluxe here because Link is a playable character right there in the corner. You can see him. So he's right there in the corner. And my rule while looking through my games was if Link's on the cover, I'll just pull it out and I'll add it. So the Super Smash Brothers, the Mario Kart, and the Soul Calibur 2. Put that down. Boop. All right, so that's my Zelda collection. That's everything that I, have in terms of the games and the gameplay and everything. I guess I could show you guys a couple of more of these. I have them off to the side here. So I got the Breath of the Wild, Link, and Zelda. I did open these. I was using these when I was playing the game because that was super fun. So have those there. Also ended up buying some Twilight Princess ones. I got Link and I got Midna on top of Wolf Link, which was absolutely amazing. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to pick those up. That's super cool. I just happen to have this right here too. So this is the Twilight version game guide for it. I never had to use it or look at it, but man, it looks so good. I was like, what? That cover is amazing. And in the back, look at that artwork. Are you serious? Thick old book. Found it for pretty cheap online. So I picked it up. So if I need some help playing that game again, once I play it, which I shouldn't because I played it a dozen times, I have the game guidebook there. And then I also got Link and Zelda for the Tears of the Kingdom game, which, did I even mention that game? I don't think so, because it's out of my view. Is it right here? Yeah, okay, Tears of the Kingdom. So they've made an actual sequel to the Breath of the Wild game that came out just last year. So we're right around the corner from it. It's February 2024 right now. So this was the last game that came out, and it was a really good game. It definitely felt like a DLC to me, like a giant DLC, because they redid a lot of that stuff. So you could revisit the same areas and beat some new bosses and do stuff. I was a little sad, like trying to go back, because I always 100% the games, right? I want to find everything. But in that game, I'm like, I feel like I already found these Koroks, and I already found this armor. In Breath of the Wild, I don't know if I wanted to do it again. But I do always end up 100%ing these games. I did find all of the Koroks in Breath of the Wild, even though it took forever. But I just kind of went through each area, and I was like, all right, where are they at? Where are they at? And I kind of looked at a map that was marking where they were, because there was no way I was going to find them like naturally. So I didn't end up finding them all. And then, got the new game, Tears of the Kingdom, and I got the amiibos for that too. So I got Link and Zelda. So yeah, that's all my Zelda stuff, including the amiibos, which they look good. They're figures. And Zelda is a genius because they're also now part of the game. You can get extra stuff by using those amiibos. So now it's something that looks good on your shelf, and you can use it to help you play the game, which is great. All right, let me put these back down. All right, so I'm just going to go through this list. Here's my notes and see what it looks like. So here's all the Zelda games and the Zelda associated games that came out since the beginning of time. And I'm going to go through these, let you know which ones I'm missing and maybe why. So 86, we got the original Zelda right here. Adventure of Link in 87. Boom. Link to the Past in 91. Got it right there. And we got a Japanese version. Link's Awakening in 93. Right here. Legend of Zelda, the Ancient Stone Tablets. That's 97. Got it right here. Two that I don't have are from the CDI games. That's the Faces of Evil, the Wand of Gamelon, and then Zelda's Adventure. I don't have a CDI game, CDI player, and apparently those games are pretty rare. So they're rare. I don't have a CDI, and they're probably not fun to play. From what I've seen, they look pretty bad. My whole thing is like I want to get video games that I play. Zelda games are games that I absolutely do play, and I love playing them. So that's why I have a lot of them. So a lot of these ones that I don't have is because I can't play them or I don't want to play them, is what I noticed. So the CDI games I don't have. Link's Awakening DX, I already have a copy here of Link's Awakening, and then I have that remake. If I can find DX for like cheap, I might pick it up. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. These are for the N64. I don't have those. I don't have an N64. Like I mentioned earlier, I went the PlayStation route. Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. I did play those games. I don't have a copy of them. I know they're a little bit more on the expensive side, and it's hard to get nice copies of those, but I would really like to get some copies of those and play those again. The little animals that you climb on and get to go all over the place in the world. Oh my god, it's so much fun. I'm totally blanking on their names, but there's Ricky the kangaroo, and then that blue bear with the wings. Man, it's freaking awesome riding those guys around. And then there's one more character that you can ride around, but what is it? I don't remember. Even though I don't have those games, I just have like fond memories of those little animals, so I might just pop them in the corner and say their name. Okay, Ocarina of Time Master Quest. So it was like a Japanese N64 version or a Japanese GameCube version. And then they made it on like a GameCube 2-disc type of thing. I don't have a copy of it. I know it's kind of like a second quest thing for some of the Zelda games. They do like, okay, you beat the game, now beat it again, and now it's harder. So you get your second quest. So that was supposed to be the second quest for Ocarina of Time. If I can find a copy of it, I would definitely pick it up, and then I would play that version. Link to the Past and Four Swords. That was like a Game Boy Advance re-release of those, of A Link to the Past, and then added Four Swords. I don't have a copy of that. But I do have the GameCube version of Four Swords. Oh, I forgot to mention the years, my bad. So Link's Awakening. Okay, what did I leave off on? Ancient Stone Tablets, 97. Ocarina of Time was 98. Majora's Mask was 2000. The Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages was 2001. The Master Quest was 2002. And then the Link to the Past and Four Swords combination was also 2002. As well as Wind Waker. Wind Waker was also 2002. And then after that game, Soul Calibur 2, which came out in 2003. The Collector's Edition, which has all those games, also 2003. Four Swords Adventures, that's saying here that came out in 2002. The next one on here is the Minish Cap. That's for Game Boy Advance. I don't have a Game Boy Advance. I did play it on an emulator. I didn't really like the gameplay for that. It kind of felt like there's a new Mario game, Mario Odyssey, or a newish Mario game, and he has a hat with like some eyes on it. So the Minish Cap was like, his hat was like some kind of creature, some kind of bird creature or something, and it let him shrink. But man, it just wasn't, I didn't find it that fun, so I don't have a copy of it. There's a couple, Minish Cap was 2004. There's some Tingles games, if you remember that character, the adult fairy guy. So there's some spin-off games of that. Freshly picked Tingles Rosy Rupee Land in 2006. It's a spin-off, but I don't want it. But what did come out in 2006, which is the best, is Twilight Princess. Boom. Twilight Princess. Tingles Balloon Fight. Another spin-off. No thank you. Phantom Hourglass came out in 2007, and Spirit Tracks came out in 2009. Those are supposed to be the sequels to Wind Waker, but they're on the DS. And when I look online, the gameplay just looks super weird. So like the graphics look funky, the story looks weird, the gameplay looks weird. So I'm like, I don't know. If I get a chance, if I can find them, and I can, if they should be able to play on the DS, right? 3DS is backwards compatible for DS, so if I can find them, I'd play them, but I don't know, man. I don't know if they'd be very much fun. Okay, so then Link's Crossbow Training, that came out in 2007. That's like a weird spin-off thing. Yeah, I think you need like the cool accessory for the Wii, so you can like shoot your bow and arrow. And then there's another Tingle ripoff, Ripen Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love. Man, these games just sound so bad. I don't know. I don't know what they look like or anything. I've seen like the covers, but man, they just look terrible. Ocarina of Time 3D, that came out in 2011. Boom. Skyward Sword also came out in 2011. That's on the side here. Boom. Wind Waker HD. That's on the Wii U. I don't have a Wii U. So too bad for me. Link Between Worlds. So I don't have the actual cartridge for it, but it's on this special edition 3DS. That's how I played that game. Hyrule Warriors. So that is on the Wii U. Originally on the Wii U. There's a definitive edition on the Switch, which maybe I'll pick up at some point. That might be kind of fun, because I did really like playing this one. Where did I leave off here? Ocarina of Time 3D 2011, Skyward Sword 2011, Wind Waker HD 2013, Link Between Worlds also 2013, Hyrule Warriors on the Wii U was 2014, Mario Kart 8, so he's a playable character on there. I have the Switch version, but that was originally released in 2014. Majora's Mask 3D here, 2015. Triforce Heroes, also 2015. Twilight Princess HD on the Wii U was released on 2016. Don't have a Wii U, otherwise I would totally pick that up. Maybe they'll re-release it for the Switch and stop being mean to us. Like, I want to replay it as an HD version. But who knows, man? Like, some of those re-releases, they make the games lighter and kind of weird, and the graphics kind of mess up, you know, how you remember playing the game. So I don't know for sure. But for sure on the which one was it? The Skyward Sword HD one. That one was definitely worth it to play it on the Switch. Breath of the Wild, boom, 2017, game changer. And then later that year, they came out with the Master Trials, which is DLC. So I downloaded that and I was able to play that. And then they did the Champions Ballad DLC. So the DLC was super fun for the Breath of the Wild, which is weird because, like I mentioned earlier, Tears of the Kingdom kind of felt like a giant DLC, but it was still like a separate game that you had to pay full price for. So I don't know. Definitely feel conflicted about it. It was still fun. My little brother Jeffrey was like messaging me about it, like getting me more hyped up about finding certain stuff, because Breath of the Wild was like, here's the world, go explore it. And then Tears of the Kingdom was like, now there's some sky islands, and now there's some depths. So now you can kind of go around to these different areas as well as everywhere else that you went to in the previous game. So it was like, okay, they were trying. And they added some other stuff, like you can fly around and build stuff, which I'm just not really into. I'm like, just give me the standard stuff. I'm not trying to go be all creative or anything. I just want to be able to fly around. So I was just like, I'll make my hover bike, I'll add my 2 wheels and my little control pod thing, and I'll just use that to get around. Easy peasy. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the list here. So Breath of the Wild, 2017, DLC. Both of this came out in 2017. One was in June, the other one was in December. There is a really weird game that's called Cadence of Hyrule. It's like a non-Zelda game, but it has featuring Zelda characters. And it's based off of Crypt of Necrodancer, which is like a rhythm-based game where you have to jump. The online stuff I've seen in it is pretty interesting, but I don't know if I'd really get into it. I'm not exactly sure. But maybe if I can finish up some of these other games, then I might go ahead and pick that up and try to play that game too. Link's Awakening, the remake, came out in 2019. Pretty fun. Age of Calamity came out in 2020. Great timing for that, right? So we had the whole pandemic craziness in like March, April, continuing on in 2020, and that came out in November. So then we had, you know, our couple of years of craziness. So I remember playing that game through the craziness. Skyward Sword HD, 2021. That was a nice surprise. Like, oh, Skyward Sword, cool. I love that game. Yeah, I'll totally play that game. And the last one was Tears of the Kingdom, which came out on May 12th, 2023. So cool, we got through it. I showed you everything that's on my table, went through the list. You can see why I don't have some of these games. Either I don't have the system, or I don't have an interest in playing it, or it's some kind of weird spin-off that I'm just not really interested in. I would like to get Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages. Those would be fun. But who knows? Maybe they'll do a remake like they did of Link's Awakening. So either way, I'm like, hey, I want to get both. I want to get the Game Boy Color versions. Or if they remake it and put it on the Switch, then I would pick that up as well. Some of these other spin-offs, like the Tingles thing, no thanks. I don't want to play. But yeah, there's still a handful left that I could get to complete, you know, the whole Zelda timeline. So I'll keep working on it, try to get those last few. Like I mentioned, I did pick up the Triforce Heroes and the Skyward Sword because it had the Symphony thing in it, and I wanted a copy of that disc. So yeah, just keep chipping away, and I'll get all this Zelda stuff here. So yeah, great series. I hope they come out with new games in the future. And if not, I'm happy with what they've already created. It's an amazing franchise, amazing game, fun to play as Link. Hopefully in the future we can play as either Zelda or Ganon. That would be insane. I would totally play that game. They are playable characters in, well, at least Zelda is. Ganon's not. But in the Age of Calamity, you can play Zelda or anybody else. In the Smash Brothers games, you can play as Zelda or Sheik, which is nice. But yeah, a main game for Zelda where you can play as Zelda, I would be down for that. That would be super interesting. I hope you enjoyed seeing all these Zelda games. Hopefully you're more informed about the other Zelda games that are out there. You yourself can find one to play. And with all that being said, I think this is the end of the episode. Hope you enjoyed this. So, Master Sword out. Peace out. Zelda champion over here. What's funny is I always name my character Link too. I never use my actual name because I want to play as Link. I don't want to play as myself. So, whatever.